Good morning, everyone. I am double checking my sound, make sure everything is good. But today we're going to talk about personal finances. Oh, we're good. All right, today we're going to talk about personal finances. Definitely have to make sure the sound, because sometimes tech happens. So we're going to talk about what you can do right now to get ahead of your personal finances, because I know as a business owner, I'm worried about business finances, but the personal finances are being affected by this uninvited coronavirus world tour. So we're going to talk through a few ways that you can get ahead right now. So for those of you who are tuning in, you're listening to the podcast, you're watching me on YouTube or here on Facebook. I am Phylecia Jones, Budgetologist and host of Ask the Budgetologist. This is a daily live stream and podcast where I try to answer any questions for solo business owners who are riding that very thin line between business and personal finances. And, this show was live for 2 years between 2017 and 2019. It retired because I got a little busy. But you know what? With the current global things going on, I thought it was a really good time to come back and help everyone talk through personal finances, business finances, and to bring a little sunshine as much as I possibly can. So I have my tea in hand. I have my notes. I need to drink some tea. I got my tea. Please share this out to anyone you know that might be struggling or about to struggle when it comes to personal finances. Of course, if you have any questions or comments, put them down in the comment box. I will be sure to answer them before we jump off of this video. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this. Our personal finances are being affected right now. Some of us have, if your business is just a side hustle, some of us have lost jobs. We are seeing friends and family that are losing jobs. For business owners, we are losing revenue, which at the end of the day affects our personal finances. It affects our personal finances. And I don't want to say it, but I kind of need to say it. We are probably, most likely, definitely already happening, tiptoeing into a global recession. And that means all of our dollars are going to be affected. And I wanted to take a little bit of time to come to you and just look at the personal finance side of this whole thing and look at some of the bright side. I know it seems really weird to say there's a bright side, but for those of us who are fortunate, we still have income. We're still able to do business. We still have spouses or partners that have jobs. So for some of us who are very, very fortunate, take this as a mini blessing to get ahead of your finances. And I know it just seems like a weird time, but this is a perfect time to start saving some money, negotiating debt, and getting rid of things that you are not using. You're definitely not using. Now, for those of you who are watching, I'm going to put a link down in the comment box. For those of you who are paying attention to, I can't even think right now. For those of you who are listening to the podcast, I'm going to have some links so that you can get to, or you can get right back to keepupwithmrsjones.com. I am on a daily national television show where I answer personal finance questions. I pop on every week, and some of the tips that we have talked about over the last year, they are relevant right now. So if you go to keepupwithmrsjones.com, for those of you who are watching me live, I'll put it down in the comment box and you can watch all of the different things, from how to save money on groceries to how to budget, everything when it comes to personal finances. I think I'm actually flickering a little bit when it comes to this camera. Sorry, y'all. I got to figure out some stuff when it comes to the laptop. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this. Just a few tips on how to get ahead of your personal finances right now, because for some of us, even though things are slowing down, this is a slight mini blessing in disguise to get ahead of our finances. So here's the first thing that you must do right now. You need to cut your unnecessary expenses ASAP. Now, you have probably noticed that while we are sitting at home, a lot of our expenses have gone down. Those gym memberships, most of our gyms have put us on hold. Hopefully your gym has put you on hold. If not, you need to go put it on hold. We're not paying for gym. We're not going out to eat as much. Some expenses have kind of increased, but probably just temporarily, like going to the grocery store. In our family, we went overboard with groceries. So we're good for, a good 30 days of food. But right now, it's time for you to cut your unnecessary expenses. Cut, 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 cut. All right, here's 3 things I want you to do to figure out what to do with your expenses. We're going to put them in 3 different categories, okay? It's called what can stay. These are necessary items that you have to have. I mean, you have to pay for groceries. You have to pay your bills. All of those things are coming in. We have to pay for them. I want you to put that in one category that says what can stay. The other category, the second category, is what can go. These are items or subscriptions that you have not used in the last 30 to 60 days. Get rid of them now. Now, for me, in my world, I rent dresses, I rent jewelry. I'm not leaving the house as much, and I already have jewelry, I already have clothes. So let's just get rid of them. Let's just cut those expenses. You can pay for it when we get back to normal. On the other side of everything. And then the third category is what can be put on hold. These are items that you cannot use right now due to business closures. And these are things you can suspend or either call and negotiate and try to suspend for 3 to 6 months. These are, gym memberships. Like I said, all of those box subscriptions that you may not be using, the grocery, the food box subscriptions, they may be put on hold because of all of the things going on. So put that stuff on hold, pull out your Instacart, go to the grocery store, load up, cover up, then go home and just cut some of these expenses out. You're going to see that you're probably going to save a lot of money. So let me repeat those 3 categories again. What can stay, what can go, and what can be put on hold, okay? What can stay, what can go, and what can be put on hold. What can stay are the things that you must keep paying for. What can go, if you haven't used it in the last 60 days, if you have not used an item or an expense in the last 60 days, get rid of it, especially for my business owners. This is the same thing. Do the same method with your business expenses as well. And then what can be put on hold, just put it on hold. Because right now there's a lot of things that are obsolete and we don't need to be spending our money on it right now. So if you do these little things, you might be able to see that you're saving up to $500 to $1,000 of unnecessary spending at the moment, especially, when you're paying for gym memberships that are almost $200 a month, dress and clothes subscriptions, you're shopping all the time on the Amazons and stuff like that. You can probably save a lot of money right now. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them down in the comment box. For those of you who are tuning in the middle, I am Phylecia Jones. You are watching or listening to Ask the Budgetologist, and we're talking about ways to get ahead of your personal finances right now due to all of the global challenges that we are experiencing, because it is going to hit our wallets. It's going to hit our wallets. All right, so we've talked about getting rid of unnecessary expenses. The next thing I want you to do is fund your emergency fund. We've talked about these emergency funds so often, and I don't want anybody to feel shame that you don't have one. That's not what we're doing here. There is no judgment and no shame when it comes to money. It's just time to learn and relearn and just move forward. All right. I want you to take all of your eating expenses and put them into your emergency fund. Now, on average, this is the average, Americans spend about $3,000 annually when it comes to eating out. Now, that's the average, because I know in my house, we spend way more than $250 a month when it comes to eating out. And I know for some bigger families, you can spend definitely up to $700 just on eating out, especially for my business owners. All those coffee dates, meeting up for happy hours, they are expensive. They add up after a while. So what I want you to do is all of that money that you would have used eating out, put it in your emergency fund. That's it. Fund your emergency fund. At that $250 over the next couple of months, I mean, gosh, that's $750 toward an emergency fund. And what the average emergency is $1,000. Come on, you're going to be right ahead. So all of those eating out expenses, if you don't know where to start, look at how much you spent in the first quarter of this year. And just by the way, it's the second quarter of this year. Jeez Louise. So take all of that money and put it into your emergency fund. Auto draft it, do whatever you need to do. Just well, I can't find the word right now. I can't find the word. move that money over into your emergency fund account. Of course, if you don't have an emergency fund right now, I want you to go to your local credit union, look for a free savings account, put that money there. Emergency funds are an amazing thing to have. So let's just go ahead and get started on one. Hey, Diane, how you doing? Awesome tips. I just went over this same info with my kids. Thank you, Diane. Please talk to your kids about this as well, especially our semi-grown kids. I don't have semi-grown kids because I don't have any kids, but I know we got a lot of 20-year-olds who think they're grown right now and living in mama's basement because, things just went a little crazy. So go ahead and allocate it. Thank you, Diane. Allocate it. Got it. Sunday. I tried a new hairstyle. Obviously, it deserved a hat. So that's letting you know how my Sunday was going. All right. So far, we talked about cutting expenses. Cut them right now. Things that you're not using, go ahead and put them on hold or just get rid of them. The second thing is all of that money we would have spent eating out, put it into an emergency fund. Fund your emergency fund and just keep funding. Like I said, for those of us who are fortunate and still have income coming in, this is a mini blessing and a way to get ahead of your finances right now without worrying about it, because you definitely have time to pay attention to everything. You definitely have time. All right. When it comes to debt, for those of you who are in debt, for those of you who have credit card debt, student loan debt, all right, this is going to be a tricky one. So the beautiful thing about student loan debts is that they have deferred the payments. They have deferred the payments, I think, until September. I got to go find the exact date. I will make an update, but they have deferred the student loan payments for a few months. If you don't need that money to live on right now, fund your emergency fund ASAP with all of that money. So that's just for student loans. Now, what I want you to do is look at your revolving credit. These are your credit cards, store department credit cards, the gas and food company credit cards, your bank credit cards. Because the Fed dropped the interest rate down to 0, you might be seeing interest rate drop slightly, not completely, on your APRs when it comes to your credit cards. This is a really good time, and you could have done this outside of this crisis, but call your credit card companies and negotiate a lower interest rate. Just call them and negotiate a lower interest rate. Now, there are no guarantees on any of this stuff, but you never know unless you ask. So call and negotiate a lower interest rate. If you must, right now, you might be able to take advantage of some of the 0 interest credit cards where you can move everything over to one card and pay it off. But the goal is to pay this stuff off. We don't need to be stressing out about all of this when other things are going on in our lives. All right. So call your credit card companies, call your revolving credit card companies, see if you can negotiate a lower interest rate. Okay. Non-revolving credit obligations, that includes your mortgage company, car loan providers, personal loans, student loans, things like that. You're going to have, these are fixed rate things. So you won't see an interest rate drop. You'll typically have to refinance to get a lower interest rate. And because of that 0% interest rate by the Fed, some of us might be able to refinance into some lower interest rates, but call your local bank. Make sure you start paying attention to everything. But if you need to have your payments deferred, some creditors are being nice. They're letting you defer for either a month or two. Like I said, there's no guarantee. Just call up your creditor and see what they will do, because they know what's going on. This is not pretend I can't pay my bills. The entire world right now can't pay their bills. So give them a call and just see what they say. The other note I want to let you need to pay attention to, you still need to pay your bills. I know there's a lot of things, a lot of people are petitioning, are trying to get people to freeze rent payments, freeze bill collecting. I know that some utilities, depending on where you live, are helping people out by deferring. At the end of the day, unfortunately, the world doesn't stop that much. You still have to pay your bills. Please stop listening to everything you hear on the internet. Pay your bills. I didn't mention this before, get it in writing. When you call and negotiate with all these other people, get it in writing. Until you see it in writing from your credit card company, from your utility company, from your rent person, the person you pay rent to, You still have to pay your bills, unfortunately. I know it sucks, but you still have to pay your bills until you get it in writing, until you get some type of confirmation. You're going to have to figure out a way to keep this party going until we get on the other side of all of these things. All right. The final thing is take advantage of any financial relief programs if necessary. I know we're going to get our $1,200 stimulus check, up to $2,400 for families, $500 for every child under the age of 17. And like I said, this is not a good reason to go have some babies, y'all. No, this is not. And I don't think your dog counts as a baby. I know you think it's a baby, but in the eyes of the government, it's probably just a pet. Sorry. So take a look at any of these financial relief programs. On Friday, we broke down the Paycheck Protection Program just for small business owners. Tomorrow, we're going to step through the EIDL, which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. Wednesdays, we're going to bring in one of my friends who's an amazing accountant. She's going to be our official CFO for Ask the Budgetologist. And we're going to throw all these money questions at her when it comes to business owners. But also there's unemployment. You need to go through your state to see what is available to you. Every state is very different when it comes to unemployment. And there is a $600 bonus benefit that is good until June 30th. So check out your state, go and apply for whatever you need. There are grants out there. Check with your city, check with your county, check with your state, then check with the federal, and then check with some of the business owners that you do business with. There are some grants, but right now everybody's being overwhelmed with everything. So just figure out what you need to do. So these are just some of the big things that I want you to do. And if you don't listen to anything that I say today, even if you don't watch me, I'm just going to telepathically put this in your brain. You need to take action right now. Right now. I know. You're stressed. We're all emotional. I know I'm so emotional. I'm between cleaning the house, eating cookies, and drinking a bottle of champagne and trying to be productive at the same time. We're all very emotional, but if this leads to where I think it's going to go, and like I said, I'm not a financial predictor, just kind of watching the motions of everything. We are probably on the cliff of a global financial recession. And I know for some of us, we are already in our little personal recessions. If we don't have money coming in from our businesses, if we don't have money coming in from our jobs, if our spouses are not bringing in income, if we've been furloughed, if we've been laid off, my sister has been laid off from her job. We are all feeling this. And for some of us, the kids have come back home. So the expenses may be going up in some places, going down in others. I just cannot reiterate to you that you need to take action right now when it comes to your personal finances. Just get ahead of the game. Get ahead of the game because, how do I say this? I try to be as perky as possible. We have not seen the worst of this financially. I'm not talking about all the other stuff. We have not seen the worst of this financially because we are told to stay home for another 30 days. And for some of us, it's going to be very, very hard. So what I want you to do is cut the unnecessary expenses as much as you possibly can. If you don't need it, get rid of it. If you can put it on hold until all this is over, do it. For those emergency funds, please, all of those expenses that you have cut, either throw it towards your debt or throw it towards your emergency fund. Personally, I would prefer that it goes into your emergency fund for up to $1,000 or $2,000, then start throwing that extra money toward the debt. But please, please, please cut your expenses. This is our mini blessing right now. For those of us who are fortunate to still have income, this is a mini, mini blessing for us to get ahead of our finances. So cut the expenses now, ASAP. For your debt, negotiate. See what you can do, negotiate or defer, negotiate down to lower interest rates, defer payment as long as they will allow. Just get on the phone, be patient. Please be patient because everybody's being overwhelmed. And as far as that emergency fund, all of that eating out expenses, auto draft that money into your bank account. Just do it. Just do it. Is that a song? Do it. No. Just move all that money into your emergency fund. Like I said, please take action now. Unfortunately, I don't think we have seen the worst of this. I don't think we've seen the worst of this. So all we can do is take care of what we can take care of. That's right in front of us. And that is those personal expenses. I'm about to be a hard ass right now. You have no excuse. I'm sorry. All the excuses I know before, we were busy, we were YOLOing, living our best life. You only live once. Right now, we are all sitting at home. You can take an hour every day to get ahead of your finances. Just take these little baby steps and you will start seeing dramatic changes in your finances probably within the next couple of weeks, but definitely within the next month. You will see big, big, big changes in the next month. So if I can help you in any way, and thank you so much, Diane, for tuning in. If I can help you in any way possible, please let me know. Put your comments down in the comment box. Get ahead of your finances, y'all. Share this out to somebody who may need to hear this. Stop all that shopping. I know right now, stop all the extra shopping because I know we're sitting at home. The only other mini blessing we have is some of these businesses can't ship out. So they're helping you. I mean, granted, they may be hurting business-wise. My heart is breaking for business owners, but right now, I think we all need to focus on our personal finances because, y'all, it may get cray-cray out there. All right, y'all, I got to take off and go do some work and finish cleaning the house. If you need me, you know where to find me. Get ahead of your personal finances. If got any questions or comments, put it down in the comment box. If you want to read more on this, I do have a blog post. Go to keepupwithmrsjones.com where I step through it with a little bit more detail on some things you can do to get ahead of your finances versus this global crisis. Take care. Happy budgeting. I'll see you bright and early tomorrow, and we're going to talk about business owner finances. Bye. I'm finding my button here. See, I got to have my button so I can do this.